Round tip blade update is here. The original blade had this square end with a small dome at the top. The new blade update has a rounded tip. One of the most common questions when I started posting videos is why is the end of the blade not more round? My initial response was that it was because there are screws inside the blade that come up so high that it has to push up and square out that tip, which is true, and it looks like this. But the question kept coming up, so I started thinking, wait a second, I have a 3D printer. I can do whatever I want. I finished adjusting the file so that the blade can have a round tip. And that looks something like this. The interior screws are shorter to allow space for the blade to start rounding off, which means that the interior of where the blade interacts with the screws has also been shortened, which looks like this. So if you've already built your twist saber with the original blade and you want to change to a rounded tip version, you'll need to reprint all 6 pieces of the blade assembly and rebuild the blade. The cool thing about this is that if you have the original blade, you can swap it out with the rounded tip version. It fits perfectly in its place. It's the same size in both the extended and collapsed positions. The rounded tip version is now the standard blade for all twist saber models, except for the LG1, because this is better. There are certain assembly features that are also coming with this update. The screws now interlocked with each other one way only. One of the 4 rails has been rotated slightly so that you can only put it in one orientation. The marking on the center screw has gotten deeper so you can still see it after it's printed. Originally, it was important to make sure that the print seam was oriented to the back of the blade segment, and it was critical that it was visible to make sure that all the blade segments were oriented the right way throughout the assembly. Now, if the print seam is in another place or is not visible, there are features in the geometry of the blade segments to communicate the orientation of all the pieces in the final assembly. Each blade segment has a marking on it that corresponds to the back of the assembly. One of these holes is not like the other. The smallest hole is the back of the assembly. The smallest hole on the middle blade segment is the back of the assembly as well. And when that's assembled, those 2 holes should align. The top segment has a divot in the side to correspond with the back of the assembly. Thanks for the feedback. I'm excited for the new round tip blade. That's all for now. I'll see you next time.